All right, you have been listening to the Department of Justice and the release, or at least the overview of their findings over almost a 3 year investigation into the city of Phoenix. They started off by saying that the police department in the city had a pattern of violating the First, the Fourth, and the 14th Amendment rights of citizens. They talked about the Safe Streets and Civil Rights Acts being violated, excessive force, abuse of homeless people, and then, of course, they said that there is an overabundance and discrimination against Black, Hispanic, and Indigenous people. That's how it started off, and then she began to break these accusations down. We are going to be talking with the Phoenix Police Chief as soon as we can with an immediate response to what they've heard. And again, to be fair to the Phoenix Police Department, this is the first they're hearing of this as well, that there has been no interaction between them as the investigation has gone on. There are no preliminary findings. There are no questions back and forth in the investigation. It is a completely separate investigation outside of Phoenix Police Department. Although it involved them, there were no results or impressions given to them along the way. So they are hearing this in the same time frame that we are hearing this. So I know it's going to take them some time to digest it, but we will get some insight from the chief. One of the things talks about it. I wrote some notes as I was listening to this about excessive force, including tasers, restraints, use of dogs, and even guns and deadly force. Let's remind that the Phoenix Police Department has had, 9 officers have been shot at, and one has been stabbed just in recent weeks and in the recent year. This is a dangerous job. I don't excuse bad behavior, but I will say this. The Phoenix Police Department is responding to what's happening in front of them. Again, there is no evidence of a specific incident other than they did say that there was an incident where somebody was shot with less than lethal, and then was shot and then shot with pellets. A dog dragged them to them. The safety of officers comes first, but they said they denied or delayed medical aid for 9 minutes. I'm going through some of this. They say they train in escalation. This is another area, and I'm going through these very quickly. Training officers in escalation. I can tell you, I have a little more insight than most civilians because I've witnessed it. I've seen it myself. I make it a point to go out and be educated. The police department, I've seen it with my own eyes, de-escalates. Immediately, they are trained. I witnessed a high-speed chase on a ride-along. Now, I wasn't in the chase. I witnessed and was listening on the radio in the middle of rush hour traffic years ago. This goes back years. This isn't in recent memory. This goes back years in the Phoenix Police Department. And there was a chase in Phoenix that terminated somewhere around 52nd Avenue in Van Buren. And it was 2 young people that had tried to run over multiple police officers. They were driving completely out of control, and this high-speed chase terminated. The police jumped out, neutralized the situation, suspects on the ground. As soon as these suspects were in handcuffs, they put them in the back of a police car, and then every one of the officers, I watched because I was sitting in a police car saying to myself, this is miraculous to me because your adrenaline's going. They had just tried to run over a couple of cops. And every cop walked away, and they began opening and closing their fists. They were kind of doing like a relaxation, and they walked away for a moment. And then immediately, because it was the middle of the summer, water was provided. They were not only pouring water on the suspects because they had been put in the street, they were giving them water to drink, although they were in handcuffs. They were actually holding the bottles of water for the suspects. And I can tell you this, they were not doing this because I was there. Most of the cops on the scene had no idea I was in a patrol car. So I can tell you that the de-escalation techniques have only gotten better, that officers are trained to respond to the force that they are faced with. I've seen it with my own eyes. I believe it completely. That doesn't mean that there aren't times when police lose their temper. But what I'm saying is the Phoenicians have to listen to what you're hearing is an overview without specifics. And if the police department were able to talk about specifics and look at specific cases that led to these conclusions, the Phoenix Police Department would be able to say to Phoenicians, there have been incidents where officers have used excessive force, have lost their temper, didn't de-escalate like they should. When you have a city this size, with an agency that size, with the number of calls that they respond to, Phoenix police officers do an excellent job. But when they don't, they are retrained, they're held accountable, they're suspended, they're fired, They're reassigned. It's not as if they ignore problems. I just want also, I want to go to something specific they talked about. One of the things they talked about was the challenge coin incident. I was at that event. I was at the event, and the Phoenix Police Department, you need to know this story. The Phoenix Police Department did an excellent job at this event of crowd control. This was a rowdy protesters, Donald Trump supporters, and Donald Trump detractors, and they did an excellent job of separating people. They did an excellent job of keeping people apart. They were being pelted with water bottles. They were being pelted with other items. And then the challenge coin part of it. The police department didn't issue challenge coins because some protester got shot in the groin. And the protester didn't get shot because he was a protester. They were throwing items at the Phoenix Police Department. And what they did were they were able to, with the use of pepper balls, were able to disperse that crowd without a massive riot. The incident was so excellent and so well handled that you can verify this. The State Department used that video when they trained international employees on crowd control. These are the private agencies that patrol and protect incidents.
Thanks for watching the Mike Broomhead Show. Tap to watch the first season of Amazing Arizonans, a KTAR News podcast. You can also click the button in the middle to subscribe.